Hello and welcome to this Stopgap home practice seed called Move Like Air.
Short clips from this season of home practice. Our disabled and non-disabled teachers dance and deliver their sessions in a brightly lit studio with a wooden floor. Pastel-coloured geometric shapes glide across to reveal text inside the outline of a house. Home practice.
My name is Tom, my pronouns are he, him. I'm a white male standing dancer. I'm bald with quite a bit of hair, including a bushy beard. I'm seated on a chair. I'm wearing a light blue pullover and dark blue dance trousers. I'm seated in a chair and I'm in a bright studio space with a wooden floor. So in this session, we'll look at how air moves inside and outside the body and how this might support our moving practice. We'll take an experiential anatomy approach, which means learning from our own experience from our own bodies. And I encourage you to explore in ways that feel good to you. So for example, choosing positions where you're comfortable. That might be in an upright working position, it might be exploring and working on the floor, or perhaps using a surface like a wall to lean up against, of course, also the back of a chair. So let's begin with quite a familiar, hopefully, way to experience air, and that's through the breathing, through our breathing organs, the lungs. So the lungs are like two balloons or bags inside the rib cage. So let's identify the rib cage to start with. So using touch, that could be with your fingers or perhaps using a surface like the back of a chair or if you're on the floor to just find where the ribs are. Let's start at the bottom. So you might find some softness in the abdomen, and then where your ribs start, you'll start to feel the bones there. And this is where the diaphragm is, underneath the bones, deep inside the body. And the diaphragm is at the bottom of the lungs. So of course we can't touch the lungs, we'd have to go right through our rib cage, but we can start to feel where the lungs might begin or end. And then let's take an exploration of our hands on our rib cage. So the rib cage goes all the way up to perhaps the collarbones. It goes all the way around the sides. You may not be able to reach all the way. Again, you can use a surface to help you find the rib cage. So inside the rib cage are these two bags or balloons that bring air in and send air out. There's two sides, right and left. And of course, just like all right and left sides, there'll be a difference between the two. So allow or include the difference in your exploration. So you might feel the air coming in and out, or feel the movement of the rib cage. So take some time to feel through the touch in whatever way you're using your hands or the surface to feel air coming in and out. And so we breathe in or we take in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide, which is different in comparison to plant life or a tree, for example, where the tree will take in carbon dioxide and send out oxygen. So it's like a mirror function. And so of course we both need each other. Plants and humans, animals need each other. There's a relationship, an opposite relationship. So deep inside the lungs is full of tubes where the air travels from the nose or the mouth through the throat or the windpipe, down into the lungs, where the air branches into lots of little smaller branches that spread out into our lungs. Now I have an image that I'm going to show you that's going to come up on your screen. The first is an image of the tubes inside the lungs. And then the second is a tree without its leaves. So a tree in winter. And perhaps you can see some similarities of the branching of the tubes in the lungs and the branches of the tree. So if we put those images side by side, you might also notice, in a way, it's like a mirror image. If we turn the tree upside down, it looks like the branches of the lungs. And if you turn the lung upside down, or the lungs upside down, it can look like the branches of a tree. And that's, for me, that's a really beautiful, poetic comparison to make. A mirror image and a mirror function. Let's begin a moving, breathing exploration, taking some attention to how the air moves in and out of us. So find a comfortable position and feel free to close your eyes or just relax your eyes. And I'll guide you through some awareness of how we breathe. So bring your attention first of all to the breath. You don't need to change it, just notice. What do you notice about the breath and the air? Where does the air come in and go out? That might be around the nostrils of the nose, perhaps the mouth. What's the pathway of the air as it moves into the body? So from the entry or exit point of the nose or the mouth, where does it travel? Can you send your attention and awareness to tune into the feeling of air moving through the windpipe in the neck, perhaps down into the chest? A sense of the torso moving to invite air in and to send air out. How much of the body moves as you breathe in and out? How much of the body breathes? And I'm going to add some words that might help to bring your attention to what's happening as the breath moves in and out. Feeling the air come in and out, filling and emptying. Feeling the air inflating and deflating. widening and narrowing. And feeling the air bulging the body and hollowing the body. When you're ready, change your position slightly. Doesn't have to be a big change, but just a small change of position. And then tune into the breath once again. And this slightly different position might bring a bit more information or bring light, some new sensations. We'll continue. So when the next time that you breathe out, change your position once again. So the next time you breathe out, shift your position. And then as you breathe in, just be still. And then your next exhalation, your breath out, change position again. And perhaps you might change this change of position into a movement. So each time you breathe out, you move. Each time you breathe in, you find stillness. Perhaps your movement might be affected by the out-breath. What kind of movement do you want to make with the breath coming out? As you shift position, if your eyes are closed, you may like to open them again. Or you may like to try opening or closing every so often. Let's change that up. So the next time you breathe in, shift position or move. And then as you breathe out, find stillness. As the air comes in, you move. And as the air goes out, stillness. Does breathing in change the quality or the kind of moving that you choose? The way that you move when you breathe in, is that different to when you breathe out? And then let's have a choice that you can move on the in-breath or the out-breath, or you can be still on the in-breath or out-breath, and change every time you breathe. So as you breathe in and out, you're either still or in movement, exploring moving in different ways. You might try things out and work out what feels good and what feels odd or less comfortable. You may notice that your breathing has changed since the beginning. But it is continuous. air comes in and air comes out. So for the last few moments of your exploration, bring some awareness to the air that surrounds you. When you're ready, find a place to pause and rest. So I'd like to start to explore two different kinds of moving through air. And I have two examples that I want to show you. So on your screen, the first image that will come up is a picture of a big open parachute. So there's a figure who's traveling underneath a parachute. It's a very round, colourful parachute in a bright blue sky. The air is filling the parachute from underneath, and there's a kind of a cushion, a big cushioning, opening feeling to the parachute as the passenger slowly descends towards the ground. And then, in contrast, the second image is a falcon in flight. So perhaps you can see or imagine the speed at which this falcon travels through the air. Very different to the quality of the parachute. So this has a blade-like cutting action. So the very sharp wings, the kind of contours of the face of this beautiful falcon bird, and then the very streamlined body, wings and tail as well. So there's a kind of a cutting through, a blade-like cutting through the air, through space. So this is what we're going to take into a movement exploration, where we can explore the air around us and these qualities of filling up, or filling up like a sail, and cutting through. So just before we have a go at moving around, I have a little kind of demonstration for you that you can try at home. Take a hand and cup the hand, or a different body part if that works better for you. I'm going to cup my hand, and as if I have something in my hand that I'm going to throw over my shoulder past my cheek. So I'm going to do that very quickly, throwing it behind, and that cupping hand is going to catch air, and perhaps I feel that on my cheek. I can feel the air moving, and I get a sense that I think I can hear that too. So that air, I can hear it move. And then I'm going to open my hand to straight, and then I'm going to turn my hand on its side. So my little finger is on the bottom and my thumb is on the top. And then I'm going to do the same action as if I was to just throw my hand past my cheek. And for me, that's a very clear difference. I can hardly feel the air move, and I definitely can't hear it. So that's one example in the hand. Another way that we might feel that is by blowing. So if you take a cupped hand and then blow, and a sense that that's a sail that might move away. And then in contrast to that, I'm going to blow, and then I'm going to try to cut off the airstream from my mouth. And I can hear it, and I can definitely feel it. So a very clear change of action in the body. So perhaps moving into your space, finding a comfortable working position, we're going to take this into an exploration. And I want you to imagine that you're traveling through air. And as we travel through air, we're going to explore this filling up like a sail and this slicing or cutting through. And I've demonstrated a bit with my arms, but I want you to see if you can feel that through your whole body. And really sensing the air move around you as you move. So the air might move you, or you might move the air. So when you're ready, as the music comes in, start to explore that feeling. You can always come back to that demonstration we had of the cupped hand or the slicing hand, and begin to move through an air-filled space. And some words that might help you find that are sailing, floating, flying, gliding, and perhaps even falling. Thinking about those images of the parachute or the falcon diving through the air. How much air can you move around you? Tuning into the subtle sensations that you might receive on your skin or through your clothes of the air passing. Different parts of your body like a sail, under your armpits, in your rib cage. Behind you, can your back be a sail? Under your chin. Can you cut through the air? Through your moving different body parts. Again, using some of those words, sailing, floating, flying, gliding, and falling. Taking your own journey through this air-filled space. Slicing through and filling up with air. Collecting the sensation of air passing, brushing and touching your body. Exploring subtle movements and then bigger, more dynamic movements. And then when you're ready, gently come to rest. So we've already covered a fair amount already, and we're going to take this last section to explore a bit more, to combine, to revisit, and I have a short recap for you. So we looked at the lungs, where the lungs are in the body, the pathway that air takes from the outside to the inside and out again. We looked at the mirror image and function of trees and ourselves, that what we breathe out, the tree breathes in. What the tree breathes out, we breathe in. And those two images of the inside of the lungs and the tree in wintertime and how they had this mirror image of each other. We looked at moving and breathing and being still and breathing and interchanging the two. And then we looked at moving the air around us or being moved by the air around us. So you might choose one of those things that we've already covered, or you might start to combine and explore a little bit more what it is to do more than one thing at the same time. Or there's one other invitation, and that's that you might explore the journey of the air coming into the body, into that kind of intimate inside space, and then the journey of the air moving out into the vast outside. So feel free to give some time also in this exploration to tune into the feeling of the breath that we had in the beginning, the air coming in and the air coming out, as well as all of the moving that we'll do too. So let's move into our space. Find a comfortable position to begin, and then start to choose where you want to start, either with the breath or the air being moved by the air. And as the sound comes in, just take this into your own exploration. And some of the words or the images that we found might support you or inspire you in different ways. And I will add a few more images as we move together to give you some extra information. Remembering some of the words that we used: sailing, filling up, cutting through, falling, flying, floating, gliding, sailing. In the last few moments, you can try to have a sense that the air that moves around you, or that you're moving around you, is linked to the air inside you. Linked through movement, through sensation, through your experience. giving time to explore what this air moving, or this moving air feels like. Combining a connection of air around you and air inside of you. Breathing and moving. Moving and breathing. Last few moments, really tune into the sense of the breath. Let the moving fall away, find some stillness. And let that attention on the breath bring you back to center, bring you into rest. So thanks very much for joining. If you like this session, click like. You can subscribe to our channel and feel free to use the comment section below to let me know what you think or ask any questions about this session. If you are interested by breath and breathing, please feel free to check out my other home practice class about working with the breath. Thanks once again, and see you soon.
Home Practice, Stopgap Dance Company.